Hello and welcome to another edition of Game or Pass, whereas I, David, play obscure Xbox GamePass games for your viewing pleasure, taking a look at the positives and negatives of the game and either giving it a rating of game or pass. Today we will be looking at Carrion, a reversed horror game developed by Phobia Game Studios and published by Devolver Digital. I'm a big fan of Devolver Digital. They release a lot of really good games, but they also have the best video game presentations of any company ever. If you've never seen one, look up Devolver Digital Directs and watch them. They are absolutely insane. There's storylines, there's all kinds of stuff happening, game reveals. This past one that they had for 2020, they introduced a free game, like a first-person shooter, where you run around and explore the game trailers of upcoming games that they're releasing. It's all absolutely free, too. They're just a unique developer doing unique things, and I thought I would just quickly highlight Devolver Digital. So on to Carrion, a game that was released just not too long ago, earlier this year, dubbed a reverse horror game, where you play the monster, hunting humans and security guards alike. I was very excited when I heard about this game a couple years ago when they first announced it, and I've been chomping at the bit to get into it. So without further ado, here's Carrion. So my first impressions of Carrion is that it's a very bloody and gory game. I really like the concept of being the monster, embracing your dark side. It has a 80s-like feel to it. Kurt Russell, The Thing kind of feel to it. You're this creepy little monster crawling around and eating people. That concept of being a monster and the mechanics that go behind it very much interested me for this game, and I was very excited to see how it played. So on to the positives for this game. First and foremost, I love the idea of embracing your dark side,
Embracing your dark side.
Some games have a morality system where you can choose to be good or bad. In this game, you're bad right from the start. But I would argue that not all monsters are bad. I believe they're mainly just misunderstood. I mean, Freddy Krueger had a dark past. It's not always his fault. Jason definitely wasn't his fault what happened to him. And Michael Myers, well, it's not his fault Halloween brings up his traumatic past. I was playing with my headphones on, and I actually could hear this monster talking a little bit, and I was able to record a clip. I'd just like to share that with you. I think he's completely misunderstood.
Oh, hey everybody. Good to see you. Looking good, Tabitha. What? I'm sorry. Got a split, Todd. Knock, knock. Anybody home? Hi, everybody. Hi, Karen. Hi, Jack. Oh, Bill, you're here too. Hey, is everybody going to Bill's barbecue on Saturday? I heard it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going. It's going to be great. Hey, Donovan, can I talk to you real What's that? Ooh, delicious. Sorry, buddy. Toodles.
You unlock a lot of cool abilities during this game, and I don't want to share too much on that because I don't want to spoil it for you if you play, but there's just a lot of cool things that you can do as this monster. I liked the atmosphere and the overall feel of the game. It did feel very like 80s nostalgic kind of monster movie. And now on to the negatives for this game. Unfortunately, I found quite a lot of negatives for this game. The game is very repetitive. You go through this formula of going through shafts, unlocking different areas, and pulling switches, and that is basically it. You get some new abilities, but like the name of the game is going through shafts, going into new areas, and pulling switches and solving like very minor puzzles. Puzzles that I wouldn't say are overly creative or fun, but more of a nuisance. Like, oh, I have to use this ability, but I got to change back to my smaller form, so I got to go all the way back over here, go to my smaller form, then go back, and then go back and become the bigger form, and then go back. It just wasn't fun in the way that they did it. So unfortunately, the game was just really repetitive. Like the base premise of the game of what you're doing. There are also these flashback missions where you go back to how you became this monster, and they're just really boring. And they break the pacing of the game. You go from being this monster, kind of whipping around, moving real fast, using cool abilities, to being this little turd of a human, walking, climbing ladders, and solving even more boring of puzzles. Like, it's just... I was like, ugh, every time I had to go do a flashback sequence, I was like, great, here we go. On top of all this, the areas all look pretty similar. There's like minor detail or environmental differences, but there is no map. There's no map to figure out where you've been or where you need to go back to, so I spent some time just like crawling through areas that I've been through going like, where the heck am I supposed to go? Like, where was that one area? You know, you might be in a nuclear plant or like another laboratory, but those specific areas will look different from each other, but like the overall area of like a laboratory all looks the same. So it can get kind of confusing about where you're supposed to go, and there's no map of like, oh, here's where I'm supposed to go. I think it's really unfortunate because I was really excited for this game, and I feel like they just really missed the beat with being able to let loose as a monster or go through areas and solve the area very creatively. It's like open-ended. You have all these cool abilities as the monster, and now you're just supposed to, do it your own way or be creative and figure out a way to get through that certain area. But that's not what this game is. This game is kind of linear. It's kind of boring and very repetitive. The story is okay, it's not anything extraordinary, and yeah, just honestly just a boring game. So quick recap, the positives of this game. I love that it allows you to embrace your dark side. Not all monsters are bad. It's got a lot of cool abilities that you can do. Has a very nostalgic kind of like 80s feel to it, which is really cool. And on to the negatives for this game. Unfortunately, and there's quite a few of them, it's repetitive. The flashback missions are boring. In fact, most of the gameplay is boring. There's no map. Don't know where the heck you're going most of the time, especially like later on when you have to do a lot of backtracking and going back to different areas can get a little confusing. And the biggest negative of all is they don't let you let loose, It would be cool if you were started in a laboratory and you escaped, and now you're just like off, like in a small town or something. So I really like the concept for the game. I think it's really neat, but I just really feel like they missed the beat on this one. So is this a game or pass? I'm going to have to say pass. Like, I really am. I mean, you could play it yourself, but I just did not have a good time with this. And I really had high expectations, and maybe that's a part of it, but it was just a really boring game. I feel like there's so much more they could have done with it, and I felt like they had a cool idea, but just didn't know how to execute it. So unfortunately, yeah, it's a pass. Thanks again for watching Game or Pass today. Remember to give me a like and subscribe. It always helps when you do so. Is there a game that you want me to do a Game or Pass on that's on Game Pass? Go ahead and comment down below and I'll try to get to it. I do have a list of games I'm kind of making my way through. I will always try to do the new ones that come out so that you can know if you want to, spend your time on them or not. Also, stay tuned because I am working on a few other series, just not Game or Pass, but I have a couple other things that I've been working on, and I'm excited to show those to you, so do make sure you subscribe because I got lots of great stuff coming your way.